Afternoon to all of our ILINX Insider community members. We're here with our second Insider session. And with me, I've got Randy. I got some slides, introduction slides, but I'm just going to go ahead and say hello to Randy Weekly, our CTO. And we've got some really cool things to show you. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with some slides to help structure our conversation. And then we're going to do a really cool, Randy's going to show us some really cool stuff. We're going to have a conversation around that. So without further delay, I am going to share my slides and we will talk through this stuff. Okay, so yes, that's us. Randy and me, Greg Council. I'm the Director of Product Marketing. And so my role here is to basically talk to all of you, and I talk to our salespeople and our product development people and help connect things. So kind of a connective tissue role here. Before we start, I want to encourage anyone, we're opening this up and we're keeping this more of an open session, but I really encourage everyone, if you like the content here, go check out our LinkedIn community group. You can subscribe to it. You'll get notifications on new blogs and new types of ad hoc videos that I've been doing with some of our other image source process innovation experts. We want your participation. We're going to really expand things in the next couple of months, which I think is really going to provide a lot of value. But really, it all starts with subscribing so that you're notified when new articles, new blogs, new questions come out, new polls. This video will be recorded just like the other one, and we're going to post the recording in the link. So if you've got other people that couldn't attend our live session, you can certainly share that link with them. And again, there may be a slight broadcast delay. I'd encourage anyone to, in the little chat that you'll see there, to ask questions. It may be a minute or so before I see them and before we actually start talking about them, just due to the broadcasting delay there. All right, so let's talk about today's session. And it's really all about how you can incorporate artificial intelligence, specifically the machine learning variety, into your own processes and workflows. And we've been talking with a lot of our customer partners and also prospective accounts about, their challenges with AI. And it starts with just, how do you make sense of everything out there, especially when there's really not a lot of good information on the art of taking specific artificial intelligence algorithms and applying them pragmatically and practically to your own workflows. Like, how do you apply AI to document processing scenarios? How do you apply that to workflows to really extract the maximum amount of value? Because really, artificial intelligence without that all-important applied portion of it is really meaningless. It's just sitting there inert. So first and foremost, and that's what we're going to show today, is some practical use cases and some little previews of how you can incorporate AI. And just for those of you that may not know, we already have a lot of AI components within ILINX, our ILINX platform. And what we're about to show you, is just one example of it. And we've also got some really cool announcements coming up in the first part of next year, all around AI. New capabilities within some of our products, new ways to incorporate even the most advanced types of AI, like generative types of AI. So stay tuned and subscribe to be alerted so you can get access to those early views and have comments about it, and then even input. Okay, so today's topic, really, this is, if I were to position, it's really all about building on our promise of delivering the world's most flexible process innovation or process improvement platform. And we're doing that today. We're showing how you can leverage the ILINX platform to incorporate Python packages, of which there are just seemingly endless AI-oriented Python packages that you can incorporate it into our new or updated native Python support. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. And with that short intro, I'm going to turn it over to Randy, who will show his desktop and get us going.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Welcome, everybody. Let's see here. I'm going to share. Okay, Greg, can you see that slide?
Let's see here. I do not see the slide yet.
Okay, let me try this again. I know this is a little tricky with the.
Okay, now I think I see it now. There we go.
Okay. Let me hop over here. Okay, now you can see that slide.
Yes.
All right. Just wanted to kind of frame up what we'll be showing during the demo. As Greg said, we have all been inundated with the latest AI stuff, especially this year with ChatGPT and a bunch of the generative AI stuff, really just crushing the technology news. And it's super exciting. It really is. And very, very powerful. But what we're hearing and when we talk to our customers is there's still just this huge disconnect. And while they've democratized access to these fantastic AI technologies, we're really finding that people are struggling still to connect the dots between the data and the problems that they have, or maybe the opportunities that they have, and this neat technology. How do they bridge this gap? How do they go take this information, push it into some type of AI thing, and really get some value out of that? So as Greg mentioned, we've had AI already integrated into a number of the components within the ILINX product suite. And we've been able to call out to other things forever. You know, you could call out to ChatGPT, anytime you wanted to. But what we want to do is we want to make those connections much easier. So one of the things that we're doing is we're going to release an ILINX Python IXM for your workflow. I'm not sure what the official name will be, and the things that you'll see today are really just alpha versions of that. It'll get a lot prettier, a lot more functional, a lot more capable. But we wanted to get this out there because we want your feedback. We want to understand how you could see this working in your organization, what types of problems you'd like to solve, and some of the capabilities that you'd like to see us be able to provide to you to make that much easier. So we'll have this IXM, at least that's the current thought, where you can drag it off into your workflow anywhere you want. And I'll show you kind of our working proof of concept right now. And this will allow you to, on the server side, as you're processing this batch, we'll create this Python execution environment for you and provide it access to your batch and documents. So this will be our layer that we provide through the IXM and through the Capture Workflow service, so that you don't have to do a bunch of wiring. And we provide you with a shell Python script that will collect all of the batch and document information, and we'll give examples of how to look for a particular batch field or a document type in a document field. And then we'll provide some samples out of the box to kind of get you started with processing Python machine learning scripts with your Capture Workflow batches. As Greg mentioned, there are probably millions of Python scripts out there today. So on the screen here down on the bottom right, there's Pipey, or however you pronounce it. It's the Python index package. It's got hundreds of thousands of Python packages. You got Hugging Face, LangChain. LangChain is particularly interesting because one of their focuses is on the ability to chain these things together, including some of these generative AI capabilities, ChatGPT, OpenAI, large language model type stuff. So they've made that super easy now through Python and other languages to chain these types of machine learning AI technologies together. So that's really something that we'll be looking at. And again, providing some samples. We're going to provide some recipes to this community as we go through this. And so you can go out and you can browse these sites, these collections of Python scripts. Some are pre-trained. So we're going to show you today a couple of examples of pre-trained Python scripts. Some of them you can build and train up your own models through TensorFlow and through some other types of tools that allow you to create your own solutions there. And we may do some of that in a future webinar as well. So I just wanted to kind of give you a flow here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a batch. In the workflow, we have our Python IXM proof of concept. It's going to collect all the batch information, push it into my Python scripts, and then we're gonna do a couple of things. We're going to use a Python library called US address, and it's going to look at a body of text and extract an address from it. And we're going to get the components of that back out into our batch. Second, I'm going to run it through another Python script that is going to use a library to do sentiment analysis. So this is a pre-trained model that just does a positive, neutral, and negative sentiment analysis. It provides an aggregate as well. And then lastly, we'll do a summary. So we'll do a content summary. So let's just jump over here to my capture environment. So hopefully you're familiar with the capture interface here. I'm going to create a new batch, and this is going to be our Python IXM demo. Super, super simple. I'm going to import a new document. So I've got a number of example documents here. So I'm pulling in a text document here. One of the things that we'll be doing in the next release as well is providing a very, very simple one-stop shop way to just simply do OCR. So your documents that are running through a button, and now you'll have your text data here so that you can make this available to some of these things like this Python IXM. So we've got Bruce Wayne here. He's writing in. He's got some poor service. He, of course, lives in Gotham City, and he's writing to basically complain about this terrible customer experience that he had. So we're going to submit that. We'll pop over here to our assigned work. You're probably all familiar with this. I'm going to scroll down here and see if I can find my demo. Okay, so it's already gone through today here, 11:42. And we see we've got this Gotham City package. This was Bruce Wayne's here. So we see that we've gone through, we've grabbed the city, we've grabbed the state and the zip code up here. Here's our sentiment analysis that came back. We've got a negative component, neutral, positive, and an aggregate or compound. And I just took the raw output from that library and I put it in here. Of course, you could write some Python script and separate those into individual fields. And of course, once you have those in your batch, you can do fun things like routing them. So if you get a particularly negative sentiment analysis, you might want to route this particular batch to a customer service manager or somebody who can reach out to this customer and maybe help them out with something. We also are incorporating sentiment analysis natively in our ILINX Cognitive Services offering. So if you're not familiar with that, we'll take call center recordings, any type of audio recording, and we'll run it through. We do speech to text. We can do some fuzzy searching, bookmarking, redactions, meaning we mute the audio, and we do sentiment analysis on it too. So we've all been on those calls. Hey, this call may be recorded for quality purposes or training. So now what we can do is we can route those calls into our repository, perform sentiment analysis on it, and you can run searches now that say, well, show me the top 5 most negative calls that I've received in the last 90 days. And then I can go pull those calls up and do some, listening and kind of try to figure out, maybe I've got a trend here that I need to address. So that's really cool. And then this is the summary. So we can run another one through, but we're going to get similar results here. It's just using these pre-trained models. It's taking this information from the batch and it's performing these machine learning model executions against this text data. So super fun. It takes maybe 2 seconds, I think, to run those 3 models, run this text through the 3 models. So let me pop over here to my workflow definition. Again, super, super simple. Now I broke this down into 2 executions just because we actually have this one running in production at a customer, and they're running tens of thousands of documents through this a day. So I just used the one that we had out of the box. And again, this is going to change. This is just kind of our alpha proof of concept to get all this stuff working and wired into the back end server infrastructure. We'll create an IXM that you just drag right off of your activity palette into your workflow. But we'll allow you to select the document type that you want to process. I only have one in my batch profile here. We're going to provide some ways to match information. So the thought here is that if you've got a script, you can make your Python script generic, and then we can allow you to do some mapping between your inputs and outputs. That way, I don't necessarily have to have all my batch fields match what my script is expecting to receive or output. So that would be a way that you could reuse stuff a little more efficiently. And then right now, I'm simply executing a script that's setting on my server. In the real version, we'll allow you to create your Python script right in this IXM, just like we do for the server extension. So you can write your Python code here. And we've got some ideas that we'd like to perhaps integrate with Pipey or Hugging Face or one of the other Python script repositories to allow you to be able to just select a library from one of those websites and pull those directly in. So you don't have to do any kind of configuration on your server side. We'll pull those right in, and then even have a test button where we'll prompt you for batch field information, maybe document field information, so you can test your script execution right here in the IXM. So very, very easy and quick to set these integrations up.
Yeah, that looks super, super simple. And that's just kind of the alpha version, as you're saying. It's going to be even easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and that's it. Greg, was there anything else that you thought we should show here?
I think one of the things I want to double click on is that scenario that you talked about where it's basically automatically routing based off the sentiment. So you've got somebody that's really hot under the collar. I've always lived by the kind of perspective that, as great as support is, unfortunately, a lot of people, wait until they've just exhausted every other opportunity. So by the time they hit support, they might be frustrated already, and the ability to accelerate the routing of that. I've heard of so many examples of like case management. Let's call this case management, where it's support-based cases, where you've got managers acting as that intake of information and routing it manually to different people. So this is just one way of handling, one example, using sentiment to automate routing to, let's say, a second level type of technician where they can really get on it. Or maybe you've got people that are specially trained on how to calm people down. But I think it really provides an actionable use case on how to apply AI to get, just to move those things along a lot quicker.
Absolutely. And we'll also be doing another demo, Greg and I think here in the next month or so, on another ILINX AI module that we will be introducing in the next release, where we will be providing built-in native machine learning technologies directly into the workflow. So not calling out to Azure or AWS or anything like that. These will be baked into our workflow to allow you to do predictive analysis. So predicting a value. So I collect some input. Maybe it's what's the likelihood that this is going to be a fraudulent claim, or should we take a very close look at this loan application? We'll also do multi-case, so we can do things like skills-based routing. So a tech support ticket comes in, we can take that text and we can apply it to our model, and we'll get the best person that should be routed to. And we'll also be baking in automatic anomaly detection. So all of our workflows under normal circumstances will have basically a heartbeat. We'll see each one of the activities and a normal time that it stays in these activities. And that establishes kind of a baseline. So the system will monitor these workflows, and anytime it sees something go out of bounds, where, something's been sitting in this queue for 3 days, and that's way out of the normal, expectation for that queue, we better tell somebody. So the system will have these built-in anomaly detections, machine learning-based detection algorithms, so that, if you turn it on, we can alert you when something looks a little wonky, and you don't have to configure anything. So yeah, super exciting time right now.
Yeah, I think that one is a really cool use case too, because admins, unfortunately, the alerts come after all the bad stuff has happened and the fire is already blazing. It's a 4 alarm fire, and so I think these predictive analytics algorithms, will help you detect the potential occurrence of something bad, so you can circumvent it. Put you ahead of the game, which ultimately, again, another proverb is you spend $1 now or you spend 100 later. I know I've always been friends with the IT folks, and I know that they put in a lot of hours after the fact, based off of reactive types of alerts versus the proactive kind.
And we all test, right? I mean, we all build a workflow and we test it, but there's always these weird situations where something happens, the data is just not quite right, and you've got this thing that's sitting there and you don't know about it, to your point, until somebody calls up and they're pretty angry about where's my payment, where's my claim, what's the status of this, why hasn't this been processed, etc. And then you're left scrambling, forensic analysis to try and figure out what happened. So yeah, this will be a neat technology that you can get out in front of some of that stuff.
Yeah, and I just, as you're saying that, I was just thinking of a use case with advanced capture. So for those of you that don't know my past, I have toiled in the the intelligent document processing, cum advanced capture, cum whatever market for a long time. And let's say you're doing high volume document processing where you're running these documents through and automatically classifying documents and extracting data, but you still got that really all important human in the loop. You're never going to get 100%. You've got a review queue, and let's say that review queue starts to increase in volume. That represents maybe something on the initial front end is going awry, and in fact, this is a reality in a lot of organizations where they don't see the initial problems with the configuration. Let's say an OCR server has just gone dark. So the result is you've got a whole bunch of exceptions that are starting to go into the manual review queue, and they don't know that until all of a sudden, a day later or something, you've got a humongous backup of volume that if you've got an anomaly detection algorithm sitting there listening in and trying to figure out something, you can catch that, at the pretty much at the very beginning, so that you can get in there and prevent, this huge backup of information and work to do. I've seen that if organizations are outsourcing data entry on that case, then what they see is a huge bill of manual data entry versus the automated kind. So one of the things that you mentioned in there in that demo was the summary in there. So you're combining two routines, right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The sentiment and the summary bit. And that's another thing too, because especially as we're mobile, the ability to scan through a lengthy email or an e-form, it's just not, it's just a lot of text to be able to go through. So I think the summary piece of it is great in that it provides that person that's receiving it with just a summary of the issue, but also, like I think you said, you can act on it. You can create some sort of rules based on just a summary of that data, whether it's extracting information to populate in the metadata to structure it or whatnot. So there's a huge amount of value in that too, right?
Yeah, and there's lots of scripts out there to do entity recognition. So you're looking at a body of text and you're pulling out what are the key entities here. And so that could be used for routing too. If I've got tons of different product groups under me, I may want to route that into a group for a specific product or a specific area of the business.
That's right. Yeah. And it's in the entity side of things. So for those on the session, entity recognition are things like identifying, proper nouns, names, cities, organizations, things like that. And oftentimes in correspondence, you have that information. So the ability to be able to identify that and extract it, you can then populate that in metadata and then automate the routing piece there too. So yeah, that's a really good point. I put in the chat the URL of Pipey or Pippy, however we want to do it. So, anybody watching this, I encourage you to go out there and check it out and just do it. Just look at it's mind-boggling the amount of packages out there that you could potentially utilize within ILINX via this upcoming IXM and incorporate those into your workflow, whether it's on the document side or the process side. And if you see any that are really cool that you want to ask us about and you have questions about, email Randy, email me, email your main account exec, and we'll funnel them through there, because there's so many out there. We're going to miss something, and we definitely want to be able to consider the really useful ones out there, because going through them. So go out to that URL, take a look, get in touch with us, and let's see what we can do together. Okay, anything else on your end, Randy?
That's all I got.
Okay, that's what I thought. So before we go, I want to make a brief announcement that ILINX 9.5 is about to see the light of day, and we have scheduled, so keeping on your calendars for later this month, we've got another Insiders session where we're going to go into a little bit more detail about some of the main capabilities that we're introducing in 9.5 and why you should care and what they mean for you. So again, it's going to be me, Randy. Maybe we're going to have a guest on there. Who knows? You never know. But the intention is to give you a preview of what's going on. You can ask questions. Let's keep this interactive. And we want to just make sure that you're well prepared to take advantage of all the really cool things that are coming up in 9.5, so you can optimize how you use ILINX. So with that, we'll see you later this month. Thanks, Randy.
Yep. Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye.